On St. Patrick's Day, we decoded this Google Doodle that included the Triskelon and the triple knot. We linked this to the Festival of Samhain, in which gates were opened in time, on the 5th of November, when the veil of reality was opened. The Triskelon and triple knot look a lot like the flux capacitor in Back to the Future, the time travel film in which the 5th of November is featured. We even talked about the Sith mounds that the pagans claim are used to travel through time. Today I watched How to Build a Time Machine, and every single element we just spoke about was featured in the opening of this film. Watch.
People come here every year from all over the world because this is the winter solstice. So all of these old monuments, they were aligned to the rising sun, so they're all very important. But this is the most famous and most important of the pagan monuments.
Literally, in the same three-dimensional space as people from ancient cultures.
Something very strange happens as we travel faster and faster in space. Time slows down. Would time stop if we were able to reach the speed of light?
Time travel to the future is not science fiction. It's science fact. There was an experiment that was done in 1971 at the Naval Observatory. What they did was to take two atomic clocks, but they put one of the atomic clocks on an ordinary passenger jet, and they kept the other atomic clock at rest at the Naval Observatory. When they flew the passenger jet around the world close to the speed of sound, when they brought it back, they found that the passenger jet clock had actually slowed down. And had lost time compared to the clock that was at rest at the Naval Observatory. So those scientists that were on board actually aged less. When we have rockets that can go fast enough close to the speed of light, we will see this effect, and it will have sociological implications.
The light of the world is Jesus Christ, eternity, timelessness, and when we enter His light, we live forever. Those who have attempted to see the face of God and have died in the presence of that glory, is this really a result of time speeding up so fast that the person ages instantaneously to death? We know that only in the spirit can we enter heaven. Flesh cannot enter. And maybe that's what that was all about in the Bible. And another thing, there is something else to the spiral as it relates to time, and I haven't quite put my finger on it. We know that the elite used the spiral to represent evil, and that it is even used as the pedo spiral. Is this really about representation of stealing of time through sacrifice? Life in this material realm, extending life. In other words, defying time. We know that Saturn is Chronos, and Chronos is time. And interestingly enough, one of these spirals actually makes up the outer ring of Saturn. I don't think this is an accident. Physicists are working on a time machine that they claim uses a spiral laser to warp time within its field.
What I've been able to show is that the circulating beam of light will cause a twisting of the empty space inside the square for a circulating cylinder of light. What I had discovered was a time machine essentially based on light. This twisting of empty space is technically called frame dragging. You think of the coffee as being like empty space, and you think of the spoon as being like a circulating light beam. Then as you take the spoon and stir the coffee starts swirling around. That's what the circulating light beam is doing. It's actually causing empty space to swirl around. Put something like a coffee bean into the coffee coffee will drag the coffee bean around. The thing that plays the role of the coffee bean is a neutron. So what I realized is if I put that into the empty space and you turn the laser on, that it's going to actually start dragging the neutron around. So this actually shows that a circulating light beam can twist empty space.
The laser experiment bears a strong resemblance to the library of time in the film Interstellar, the Tesseract. A cube has also been associated with the time prison, and these time machine experiments look like cubes.
Now, in Einstein's theory, it turns out that space and time are linked to each other. Whatever you do to space also happens to time. If the circulating light beam is intense enough and the space twisting is strong enough, time could actually be twisted into a loop.
Don Coleman had his time machine tubes bent there and recommended them.
These are the parts that we did for you. This is the remaining parts because it's brass. And this is called the Arcatron. And has all the dimensions, all the math of the Ark of the Covenant.
Is there a good version of the spiral of time? We know that God led the Ark of the Covenant as a pillar of fire by night and cloud by day. A spiral. And we know that Moses parted the Red Sea with a staff. And that same staff turned into a snake and consumed other snakes in the Pharaoh's court. Are these spirals, these staffs, are they mini gates that allow just a bit of the infinite power of God into this reality? A sort of time machine.
Yes, no problem.
We're good, we're golden.
Wonderful. 42 pounds.
42 pounds.